Welcome back to the Kushka channel, everyone. Got a fun one for you today. We're going to install one of these diesel heaters. Picked it up on Amazon for a pretty good price. It's advertised as the 5 kilowatt right here. You can see that. There we go. Right there. Read it to you. It says 1 kilowatt to 8 kilowatts. It's a 12 volt. Uses about 40 watts. And of course, it's a diesel heater. I'm pretty excited to do one of these. They seem pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and I chose this over other options for the obvious option. It is pretty cheap and easy to install compared to wood stoves, which, you know, even the cheaper ones are like $500, $600, and they can keep going on up to over $1,000. Same with the drip oil stoves, and it kind of came down to I was either going to stick with my little open element buddy heater, which is a propane open element and creates a lot of condensation as a byproduct. Not ideal, plus those cans get expensive. Or I could purchase one of these and give it a try. Go ahead and show you all the parts that it came with. It actually looks like it's a pretty decent setup, so let's get into it. Yeah, the kit comes with everything that you see here. So this one did come with a nice nylon line. A lot of them come with a green rubber line, but this came with a nice nylon line. It doesn't collapse. I hear the only complaint really is that the vibration from the little clicky-clack fuel pump will vibrate through here and create extra noise. So if that bothers you, then take that in consideration. But otherwise, it's a nice high-quality line that doesn't collapse. Here's your fuel pump. They added a nice arrow there so you know what direction the fuel goes to. There's a nice little LCD screen, as well as a little remote right here. Simple on and off, up and down. So that's pretty handy. Here's a little mount for the little clicky-clack fuel pump there. So that should absorb, it's a nice rubber mount, so it should absorb some of that vibration from the click-clack. Comes with all the hardware for mounting. I think I'm going to go ahead and use all of this. These hose clamps don't seem too bad. I know a lot of people complain about them, but we'll see. They look all right. Give them a try and see what happens. Looks like it comes with a nice filter as well. All the mounting brackets. A little 1-inch exhaust tube. And this little muffler. The air intake is okay. I mean, I'm going to be running this on the outside of the truck, so we'll see how well it does. I might replace this with something else in the future, maybe something more like the exhaust pipe. The air intake also comes with this little screw-on filter. Nothing too special, but it will keep things from getting in there a little bit, And then this looks like it just screws on there. Yep, that's it. And then here's the air duct to vent the heat into the actual camper. Comes with these little directional things to put on there. And of course, comes with all the wiring. Looks like it comes with a decent amount of wire. So I'm not sure if I'll need to add additional wire or not. I don't think I'll have to. Then it comes with a handful of zip ties. It's a nice little 10-liter fuel tank. And I like that the fill is on the side, so I can kind of tuck this under the bench or wherever I'm going to put it, fill it from the outside. I might just mount this to the outside as well. This was on the inside. The mounting hardware looks like be a little bit of drilling involved. And this will tap, so I'll probably drill this and then stick this on the inside of the tank very cleverly, and then the fuel line attaches to that and will pull from that tank. And here's where you can mount your tank to whatever you need to. And that's how it will mount. Then I picked up a little 1 1/8 hole dozer because I think I'm going to drill through my bed, through the inside of the camper and the bed, so that the exhaust comes out by my truck exhaust. And this is 1 inch, so that 1 1/8 gives you just a little bit of wiggle room there, which I think will be perfect for this, because that, yeah, it's kind of a tight fit. So I think that'll work out just fine. Oh yeah, and another little rubber hose. Okay, it's the next day. I took the rest of yesterday just to kind of figure out where I wanted everything to fit and to see if I could actually fit it where I wanted it. But I think we pretty much got it here now. So I think this is where I'm going to drill my holes. I'm going to double check that. The big obstacle is drilling a hole so that it doesn't interfere with any of the cross members or any of the steel or the frame. And ultimately where I'm going to cut the holes, if I've measured everything correct, it's going to be right in here. And so the exhaust will be able to come down and kind of go out with the old truck exhaust here. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm gonna quadruple check everything and make sure I got enough fitment, but I'll get back to you here in a minute. Okay, I'm thinking that's how it pretty much it's going to sit. I wish I could put the tank somewhere else, but I normally wouldn't want it that close to the actual heater. But I am going to cut the rest of this out. That was like this on yesterday, and while I was milling around I decided to chop it off so I can mock up the tank and heater fitment to see how it looked. So I think I'll make it flush with the stud there. That'll push it back some. I thought about mounting it outside right here, and I still may. But I primarily got this for winter camping, so I want that fuel to stay warm and not gel up when it's cold out. I think I'm just going to go for it, see what happens, and if I need to move that tank somewhere else, then I will do that. But I think this is pretty much spot on where I can put that heater, where it's not completely in the way. And then maybe I can put a little board cover over here so I can keep from kicking the heater. We'll see. I think I'm going to drill the holes now and just work around that, providing I don't hit a frame or anything, which I hope I don't. I think the rest should be pretty straightforward. Okay, looks like that's going to fit well enough for our purposes. Go ahead and check out underneath. And looks like we hit our mark exactly where we wanted it. So that, I think that worked out pretty good. So I'll probably mount the fuel pump right in here because it's tucked away from the dirt and stuff. There's a rock, but it's mostly protected. Unless I can maybe fit it in a panel right here. That could work too. We'll see. I could mount it to this, but that rattles. I'll figure that out. Give you a little update as we're going along here. So I got our tank mounted to some plywood that I painted nice and solid. Got another shimmed up tank just a little bit. So got a little piece of thin plywood in between the tank and the other plywood so I can access the fill a little bit easier. I got back there pretty much cut how I wanted and insulated. I think the instructions say. So of course we want to follow the arrow. So the fluid is going to be pumping this way, pulling from the tank over here, feeding it to the burner on this side, and we'll want to mount it up at about a 45-degree angle so that all that fluid or all the air that could possibly get trapped there will be out. It'll have a way to escape because the fluid's going to want to be pushing it this way. So that'll be a way to prime it. So I'm going to crawl under the bed here and find out where to put this. I think right here might be a good spot for now. I've been kind of going back and forth between, oh, get you there. Been going back and forth between where I want this, whether I want to keep it inside or outside. I can see merits for keeping it on the inside because it keeps this nice and protected from the elements, keeps your wires and everything safe, it keeps your fuel nice and warm. I can see merits for mounting it on the outside. One, it makes it a little easier because you gotta feed your your burner from underneath here anyways. And then also these things are kind of loud, so it's nice to keep them outside so that they you know, it's not keeping you up in the middle of the night clicky clacking away as much. So I think I'm gonna drill a hole and put it here. If I don't like it, I can always move it later, but we're just gonna go ahead and drill a hole and see what happens. Okay, so that'll be angled something like that. So next I gotta go topside and drill another hole so I can feed a fuel line down from the tank. So I guess I better figure out where I'm gonna tap that tank next. So for my next trick here, here is our fitting that we gotta tap into the tank. And they make it so, you know, you have to tap it in yourself because you know, they don't know where you're going to put your tank at, or where you want your feed. So I think mine's going to fit best right in here. And then I'll just drill a hole somewhere down in here. And that will probably be good enough. I'll show you this fitting here. We have two O-rings. One O-ring will be on the inside of the tank, pressed up to the wall. This will be on the outside of the tank, this O-ring right here. And then those will be compressed together with the nut. Getting this in there is going to be a magic trick in itself. So if you got a coat wire hanger that you don't mind destroying, that'll probably be best because it fits right on there. I'm going to unwind this wire hanger and feed it down there after I drill the hole. So I'm thinking this 1/4-inch drill bit will be the ticket here. So let me see where I want this. I think we're going to want it right about in here. Point of no return. See if that actually fits in there. Okay, so I'm just going to tap this in a little bit here so that when I feed it from the other side it's not so difficult. Got my coat hanger, got this right here, Remember to take off one of the O-rings, because you only need one on the inside. Second one goes on the outside. Hopefully this works. Coax it up a little bit. Get your O-ring on there. You guys see where I put that bolt? Oh, there it is. Fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and start snipping up this rubber tube, so that'll fit on here. We'll have a little ring for that, or a little retainer clip, and then we'll hook that into the filter. It's important that the tank side will hook up to this side right here, because all that fuel will go down into the filter, and any thick particulates will get sucked or stuck in that little filter tank here. And then underneath it, this will go to the burner, and that should be nice and clean. So what I can do here, actually probably just cut this metal, snip this right here so that my line can freely go through, and I think that's what I'm going to do real quick. Okay, I got them mocked up here. So I think this is going to sit pretty much exactly like it is. Cut a little slit in our mounting plate so that our wire can get in there a little bit better. I might actually dig out the plywood a little bit so it has a little less pressure riding on it when I fully mount this. Though I don't think it's going to be a problem because this is lifted, so I should have plenty of space. Okay, so I think I'm just going to drill a hole straight through here. I'll connect rubber tubing from here to here, and that will serve as my filter. And I'll drill a hole right here. Then that will feed my fuel pump. So, wish me luck. Should be all right. Okay, next we're going to hook up some hose here. It comes with these neat little, the kit comes with these neat little hose clamps. Oop. There it goes flying. You just put them on like that. This doesn't need a whole lot. Somewhere We just need a little piece of hose from here to connect to our fuel line. Probably about like that. This will be going into our intake here on the pump side down there. So I'm not exactly sure how much line I'm going to use, so I'm just going to feed myself as much as I can, and I'll pull it through, connect it to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing down below that I did up here on the fuel pump side, so I'll probably show you that when it's done here. Okay, we got our fuel pump prepped up, ready to receive those nylon lines on each side. So we just got to plug them in now and move our clips into place, and it should be good to go. Then we're ready to plug everything in. I'm going to go ahead and put this all together underneath the truck here. Okay, we're getting ready to plug the line into the tank here. Just wanted to give you one tip. So when you're running your nylon line through the rubber line, you want to get as close to, or you want to butt up against like the filter or whatever is on the other end. You want this line to be touching. The idea is so that there's no pockets in between your fuel line and the filter or whatever's on the other side. You just don't want any pockets where there could be some potential air accumulation and it could get stuck. Cram that in there as far as it'll go. And that should be fine. Run this line. And we'll plug this into the other end. Should be good to go. I'll show you what it looks like when it's connected under there. Okay, I did everything but tighten this bolt here. We're more or less at a 45-degree angle, a little steeper. I have our line feeding from the tank, and I had some extra tubing laying around, so I just gave it some shielding in case it's bumping around or dirt's flying up. I don't want it hurting my nylon hose there, so I gave it some shielding. Did the same thing for the electrical component, and did the same thing right here a little bit, at least for where it feeds into the burner. And then I drilled some holes for some zip ties to just hold things in place, top and bottom. And I wallered out this hole a little ways so that I can get the electrical connection out of the way, so that our air intake can just go through unimpeded. And if you're wondering, what side is exhaust and what side is air intake, the side with the fuel line is going to be your air intake, and then your exhaust will be the other side. I think the last thing that I'll do down here is I'll probably put a little glue right in there just to cushion it, keep it steady. When I say glue, I mean the adhesive that I use in all my Camper Hack series videos. I did put a little bit of dielectric grease on that electrical connection just to give it some waterproofing and give it a solid connection. So next I'm going to go top side. I'm going to clip the other end of the fuel line and start plugging everything in. I got to run the exhaust next, and I got to run the air intake. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably run the exhaust out here along next to my actual truck exhaust, and we'll see. I might not run my air intake through here. I might leave it, if I can make that sharp bend, I'll leave it up on the other side of this pan here, and I think that'll give it a good chance of not sucking in a bunch of gravel or moisture or getting damaged. It's all right up there, I guess. A little dusty, but I think it will be okay. Just want to show you the exhaust here. We got a little tiny muffler, and we got our tubing. Let's do a rudimentary test and just see how this muffler works and if it's even worth it. So we'll just go. Yep, made noise. Oop, that side's all bent up. That muffles it a little bit. Well, anyways, let's see what we got here. Okay, did the same thing that I did underneath on top, and I just kind of wallered it out a little bit for clearance purposes, so I can get that wire out of the way, get my tube through unimpeded. I'm going to be able to make that turn like I want to. So I got to get a sharp 90-degree angled turn so I can fit between that plate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that though. Might be too sharp of a turn. What this can do, let's see. Might have did it. I'm gonna go check on the bottom side and see. Okay, well it worked. I was able to pull it through the other side and keep it smashed in between that pan there, and I pulled it out just far enough to get my filter on, so that should be good for air filtration. Almost pulled air intake all the way through though. Okay, pretty happy about that. Little line hooked up here. Got about this much rubber left, so I think we're in good shape here. Okay, take that off, measure it, approximately needs to be about like that, and then we'll give it a little extra room here, so maybe about that long should do what we need it to. I think be shorter. I got her mounted in there, so I just took a 1/2-inch bit and drilled out where the fuel line is so that I can fit the bigger fuel line in the fittings in there. And it was still just a little bit snug, so I threw it on some 3/4 inch plywood, give it a little bit of lift. It's in there nice and solid, and then to save time I just screwed the tank in there. We are down to the last bits here, just wiring it up. We need to find a good ground. I don't think I have one, so, and our ground here is pretty short, so I think what I'm going to do is lengthen the ground so that it can reach the battery. I think that'll be our best method, but all I got to do now, it's really simple to wire. I got to run the positive, run the negative. This plugs directly into the unit, and then this plugs into the controller, and it looks like we got plenty of wire there, so I can run it up and hang it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and show you what it looks like when it's all done. So I'm going to start with a little Marvel Mystery oil. I'm just going to put a couple dollops in there for those of you who don't know what this stuff is. It's predominantly a mineral oil and a mineral solvent, a white mineral oil and solvent. It has a anti-wear agent in there, a heat polymer, and a carbon softener. I've done some diesel purge videos and ran my dually completely off this while I was purging. It's really good oil, really good lubricant, and I think it's going to help lubricate that pump and lubricate the burner and everything, all the moving parts, while we're getting it started for the first time. That's pretty good. Probably more than enough. Okay, I filled the tank up about halfway. It's not leaking anything. That's good. Probably just make sure it runs and make sure nothing leaks first. If that's good, then I'll fill it up the rest of the way. Burp. I like their plug-in. You just plug it in and then you can screw it into place here. It's a 3-prong, only goes in one way. Yeah. Oh, we got something happening here. Now I think to prime the pump we press OK and we hold down 33 degrees. Oh, fans on. I don't know if I'm priming the pump or anything yet. All I did is press on, so oh, I can hear the pump. It's pumping. Pump is pumping. So the filter's starting to fill up with fluid. The pump just kicked off. We have heat, guys. So I was getting a low voltage warning, and it didn't want to keep the pump on so it can finish priming. So I started up the truck to charge up the batteries. I figured that'd be the case. It's really cold right now, and I hadn't run the truck in a while, so I'm sure these rear batteries were low on juice for what that thing needs to get kicking for the first time. But we got heat, guys. Check this out. I got this right here, just some light. I don't know if you can see that, but that's 126 degrees. Get this out of the way. Pumping heat. And see that? That is doing its thing. There's no leaks. There's no leaks or anything. The exhaust is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's actually really quiet. And the pump isn't too bad either. Probably run it inside, but I think it's better outside. It quiets down quite a bit once the pump is full of fluid and it's lubricated. It's not as loud. So I'll probably leave it there for the time being. See how I like it. See how it handles the dirt and everything. But it is going. I like it. I'd say the one thing that I'd change is the air intake that's running outside is just like your regular ducting here. It's nothing special, and it can get damaged fairly easy. Just paper and tin foil, light foil. So I may switch it up and just get another exhaust tube and run that out somewhere. I think that's probably the only thing I'd change, though. I might get some heat wrap, take everything out, and heat wrap the exhaust. But as far as just plug and play, hook it up, see how it works, see if it works, it was actually pretty easy. The most difficult part, I'd say, is measuring everything and trying to figure out where to put it. I spent a good part yesterday just trying to decide where I can actually fit the heater so it's out of the way and not impeding my storage area, and trying to put the tank out of the way. The air, it is a little close to the heater for my liking, so I'm not sure what I'll do about that, or if I'll do anything at all, but it seems to be doing fine right now because it's just pulling air from that direction. But I didn't want to store it outside for a couple of reasons. One, it gets really cold and I don't want my fuel to gel. Two, I take this thing on the ferry, and one thing they're sticklers about on the ferry is like having a full fuel canister like that, or your propane or something. They see a tank like that, they're like, oh, you gotta empty that thing out. I'm like, well, it's hard mounted, it's full of diesel. I'm like, well, store it with us, we'll keep it in the locker. I'm like, well, it's hard mounted, damn it, it's plugged into everything. They don't care. So if I keep it inside, out of the way, then they're not going to bother. But that seems to be doing exactly what it should be doing. I still got to clean up all the wires and everything, of course. All the wires are kind of wherever. I got the positive and negative. I ran an extra extra length of ground wire so that it can link into my battery here. That seems to be working all right. So I got to figure out how to tuck this away so it's a little nicer, and then hang this guy somewhere, maybe up here or something, so I can see it. Also comes with this cool little remote control. It'll probably live up by the bed or something. Go inside and check it out. Pumping out some nice heat. Alright, so here is our display. Spot where there isn't so much glare. Doesn't matter, there's glare everywhere. Okay. So I don't have it completely set up yet, but we have military time. Probably change it to standard time if we want. We got our up and down heat. I got her cranked all the way up. That's how many volts we're pulling here. It's really not that much. Rocking 60 degrees inside, and it feels nice. I think I've had this thing going now for probably about 20 minutes or so. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it though, guys. It cranks out a lot of heat, barely uses any fuel at all. It's not super loud. It can be kind of loud, you know, when it's cranked all the way up. Even with that muffler on outside, it's kind of loud, but you know, whatever. You can turn it down if it bothers you, and it still cranks out a ton of heat. It keeps this camper nice and toasty, And it showed me where all the cold spots are, like this cab over right here. This whole bottom section is super cold, and that's where all the condensation pools up. So I gotta pull that bottom off and change out the insulation, maybe do some spray foam or something and re-insulate it so I can fix that problem. Condensation is definitely my worst enemy this year. Last year it was leaks, a little bit of condensation. Now it's, you know, just condensation. This camper doesn't leak anymore, but it has a couple cold spots. Get to that part later. But the heater is pumping out a lot of heat. I'm pretty excited to go out camping with it as soon as I fix all this condensation stuff, which we'll probably do this weekend. But yeah, I'll drop a link for this particular one in the description. I really like this one because it comes with the nylon fuel line and not that green fuel line. It comes with that hard nylon fuel line, and the hardware, all the hose clamps and everything seem to be, you know, pretty decent quality. Of course, you can always get better if you want to, but no problem clamping this stuff on. It holds pretty good. The one other thing I might change in the future is I might change the air duct for the cold air intake, and I might just switch that over to a 1-inch like exhaust pipe, just because it's metal and not made out of paper and foil, which I can see being problematic as time wears on and it's exposed to the elements. But I think that's it. But for less than $200, this thing really does pump out the heat. It's advertised as a 5 kilowatt, but the back or the panel says between 1 and 8 kilowatts, and it definitely feels like it's on the high side. This thing definitely pumps out a lot of heat. So I couldn't be happier with it. Good price, excellent heat, good quality, easy installation. Most difficult part was just finding a place to put it, because you know, you got to cut a hole in your truck bed, or I had to cut a hole in my truck bed, so you got to fit between your cross members and your frame, so that you're not drilling directly into your frame or your cross members, because that is well, it's troublesome, hard on your bits, and it negates the integrity of your frame and cross support. So if you can avoid doing that, you know, definitely avoid hurting your frame. I think that's gonna do it for this video though, guys. I had a good time installing it. It took a few hours. Wasn't too bad at all. Once you got the holes drilled, everything else is pretty smooth sailing. It's just plug and play at that point. Just make sure everything is tucked out of the way and secure. Alright guys, I gotta get out of here and move on to the next project. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll put a couple of videos for you to check out. I'll select one from the Camper Hack series, and then I'll let YouTube pick one from my channel that they think you'll enjoy most. So we'll see if those turn out to be the same videos, or, you know, we'll see. But either way, I'll go ahead and catch you on that next video. Alright guys, later. Welcome back to the Cooter Scott channel, everyone. This will be another episode of the Camper Hack series, and as you can see, I'm in the camper, and once again I've hacked my camper apart. This time I did it a little more than I did last time, so I'm pretty excited to tell you what's going on. So in the last episode, I installed the diesel heater. That thing's been working like a champ for the past 2-3 weeks now. I'll review that on a different video, but it has inspired me to dive in a little bit deeper. I know condensation is a little bit of an issue with these old metal campers, and this camper is no exception.